All right, folks, it is Monday night and we are back. Yes, it's been a few weeks. We were moving to our new facility, which we're in now. And then we went to Sun and Fun for a week in Lakeland in Florida. And so, yeah, we are finally back for the live Q&A for the foreseeable future. I don't think we have really any sort of travel for a while. So kind of exciting. I see a lot of folks in the chat. I will say hi in a minute, but if this is your first time, we answer all of your drone questions. So leave them in the comments. Jason is literally in the back somewhere over there in the new office and is filtering through the questions. We have Ethan, as always, behind the camera. And then I don't know where the other two guys are from production. So yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. We finally got to move into the new facility. It's been hectic, and then we had to go to Sun and Fun for a whole week, so that's also been hectic. And then now we're back, so kind of exciting. And then that's about all I have to say about that. So let's say hi to a bunch of folks. We have Richard is here, Rancid Bin. We have Michael Dressing, Curtis Warren, Thor Inspired, a lot of familiar name. My name's Eric Reifschneider. We have LaRock Media, Alexander Blankenship, Scott Jordan, None Your Business, Travis Cheney, Northern Drone Guy, Retired Fire Chief. Steve A is here. We have Jeff Lay, Lisa, an OK Boomer. Soy Sauce is here. We have Fisherman and His Catch. Awesome. JJ Ariel, we have Vic, Drone Service Provider Alliance is here, Yellow Rose Drones, Bob Rock, Drone Eagle, Old Deadeye, After As Media. Who else do we have? Thomas is here, Chico, who else? Bem 1962, Just Johnny 2012. A lot of folks. Alien Drone, Dave DeVore, Keith Richardson. We have, I saw another one, West River Drone. Jillian, our own Jillian from the community, is here. And then JG's Garage, James Van Boeven, our good friend from the community and longtime follower. Scott is here. And then also Sparky. Sparky, welcome back. All right. Whew. Good times. Should we get to the questions? Welcome back, everybody says. Thank you. Yeah, exciting. All right. Richard Hooker says, good afternoon. How was your time away? I was really not away. Just, well, maybe away in Florida, but that time was good. It was hot. It was sunny and hot and humid and hot. And yeah, that's Florida in a nutshell for you. So we're back. It actually snowed in Prescott while we were in Florida, which is really interesting. Okay. Renseed says, can I have one drone, Mini 4 Pro, with two different remote IDs, one for internal and one for an external module? I would not recommend it. If your drone already has internal remote ID, just keep it that way. And then that's it. That's all you have to worry about. So Michael Dressing says, I have my Part 107. Do I need to be doing commercial work for a structure when flying 400 feet over it if my intention is just to get better views for landscape photography with the extra elevation? I mean, no. Keep in mind, Part 107 is a set of rules that you follow. Nowhere in Part 107 really does it say the type of flights that you have to do. You can do recreational flights under Part 107. Part 107 is the base of all operations. So anytime you fly a drone, technically you have to follow Part 107 unless you have an exemption, or unless you are flying recreationally, in which case you can follow an exemption, different set of rules. So that's as clear as I can make it. But no, in this case, 400 feet over, if you're within 400 feet of an obstacle, you can do that in airspace that doesn't require authorization. Be careful there. If you're getting LANS approval, you can no longer apply that rule. It only applies in airspace that requires, outside of airspace that requires authorization. Whew. Vic, the answer is yes. Just send it to Jason. All right. Michael Dressing says, I have my, I just said that. Sorry. Larock Media says tariffs and drone bans. What can you tell us about both? Drone bans, not a whole lot of updates at the moment. DJI, I saw, is asking the federal government to complete the testing of their platform that is required under Section 2203 so that we don't end up with a ban by December. I don't think anybody's volunteered to do it. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we are with the drone ban. Tariffs, not a whole lot of good news, unfortunately. As a matter of fact, I just received a package today from China, not a drone, not drone related, but electronics. And we had to basically pay as a tariff the same amount that we paid for the item in itself, which was about $1,400. So I bought something for $1,400. It was purchased way before any discussions of tariffs. And then today I received it and I had to pay UPS another $1,300. So that was fun. So just doubled up the cost of my item. Anyways, so yeah, tariffs, you're going to see them. You might have to pay them directly as you receive the item from the shipping company. So in our case, it was UPS. And then we had to pay with a check because they didn't take credit cards. So have your checkbook ready. And what else? Travis Cheney says, sorry, my hair is a bit of a mess driving with the windows open. How long do you think it would take for a made in the US recreational drone to compete with DJI to be operational and to be affordable? So this is a loaded question that the answer is, I don't know that we'll get there. I don't know that there is anybody out there interested in actually doing that. So first, we would have to find somebody who's interested in doing that. And then second, they would have to catch up to 10 years of innovation from DJI. The reason why it's going to be difficult to make it affordable is because until you reach the level of mass production that DJI has, you can't get the cost down enough. And of course, we also know that the cost of manufacturing itself in the United States is more expensive. So I don't know. So I don't have a lot of hope, quite frankly, on anybody getting to the point where they are going to make a recreational drone or prosumer drone that is operational and affordable like a DJI drone. Retired Fire Chief says, good evening from Eastern Iowa. My question is, I have my Part 107 from 1.5 years ago and did the recurrent last August. My thinking is I can fly at night with proper lights and get lens approval. Yeah, you can fly at night with the lights and get lens approval. Absolutely. There's no limitations on flying at night as long as you have that strobe lights on top of your drone. A fisherman in his catch says, what portable drive does Pilot Institute use for storage? We use, what's the name, Ethan?
Samsung T9.
Oh, T9s, yeah.
T7.
Yeah, T7s or T9s from Samsung. Kind of rugged, rubbery outside to the drive. They're fairly small. And we don't use a ton of them. We use them usually when we travel, but in the studio, we have wires everywhere that transfer the data. But yeah, that's what we use. So I recommend them. They're not necessarily the cheapest, but they're also not crazy expensive, I think, for what they are. So yeah, that's what we use. JJ Ariel says, let me see. Does anyone know where I can find a small business startup grant or government grant or loan? A loan, I would look into the SBA, Small Business Association. I don't know what... I mean, there are requirements. We actually qualified for one. I'm sorry, I'm about to sneeze. We actually qualified for one for purchasing this building. So I would talk to your local bank Your local bank is going to be the ones that process the loan and talk to SBA, to the Small Business Association administration, and then they'll process the loan with somebody who's from SBA. So that would be my recommendation. While not trying to be negative, what are the anticipated consequences of the ongoing tariff on drone purchases from DJI, for example, but also on the industry as a whole? I mean, there's no way not to be negative about this. I hate to say it, but it's a tariff. It means that any drones that you're going to purchase that are from one of the countries that has a tariff, you're going to pay more. That's really the bottom line. We know that there is no American drone at the moment that is the equivalent to a Mavic or an Air or even a Mini that is not a Chinese drone, which means that as far as I've read, it changes every day, changes every hour. It feels like the tariff is about 100% right now. So it's going to double the cost of your drone. That's what it means. So, like I said, it changes every hour. On Friday, there was a tariff that was supposed to happen, and then it was taken back on Saturday, and then I don't know what it is as of today. I haven't looked. So, yep. There you have it. Next, Sparky says, made it, feels like forever, watching from Huntsville, Alabama. Awesome. Huntsville, Alabama. Oh, I know what you're doing over there. I've seen some Facebook activity. Drone Eagle says, how would one go about getting a drone approved for OOP, Operations Over People, Matrice 350 RTK? Big drone. It's going to take a little bit of convincing with the FAA to do this because the drone is over 400 grams, obviously. And so the FAA is going to want to know, it's actually more than that. It's over, I think, 3.5 kilo for the waiver process. I can't remember. I think it's 3.5 kilos. And so, yeah, it's going to be more difficult, but you're going to have to make a case. Definitely, you're going to need a parachute. I don't remember if there's a parachute approved for the Matrice 350. I'm sure there is. But yeah, you'll have to make a case with the FAA. Vic earlier asked if we could share the article that he wrote about, yes, and I think, yeah, there you go. Jason put it in the chat a little bit earlier. So go take a look at that. That's a little bit of a guide to get into OOP, Operations Over People. All right, Soy Sauce is saying, can a single operator control multiple drones at one time? So, not under Part 107 unless you have a waiver. So you'll need to get a waiver. I'm pretty sure Vic just told me not too long ago that he received one. So a waiver to operate 2 drones at the same time. So you'll need to make a case again to the FAA to waive that regulation that does not allow people to operate more than 1 drone at a time. West River Drone says, what AI do you use in post or anywhere else, if any? In post, we don't use AI in editing. We use AI for, I don't even know how to explain it, for just a variety of little things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Mostly to get us started with ideas on which we typically add on top of with an actual human. AI is really good at creating storylines if you want, or give ideas of certain things, or yeah, it's just a variety of tools that help us. If you ever had the blank page syndrome, AI is great at getting rid of that blank page syndrome where you can just, yeah, get an idea started and going on top of that. Have a question. If someone asks for a cool aerial photo and I tell them if you want aerial photography, it has to be pro bono until I get my Part 107. Nope, that actually doesn't work. So if somebody asks you to fly your drone for whatever purpose, it's no longer recreational. Now you're flying the drone for them on their behalf or for doing whatever it is. The exchange of money is not actually the thing here. It's the intent of the flight. So if somebody says, can you do this for me with your drone? It pretty much automatically falls under Part 107, which means that in this case, you would have to have a Part 107. So if you want to follow the regulation to the T, you would have to tell them, I'm sorry, I can't do that because I don't have my Part 107. Steve says a Part 107 pilot with a NEO that is registered with a remote ID module, can they occasionally fly recreational CBO flights without attaching the remote ID module, or is it once registered, always required? It's that last part. Once it's registered, it's always required. So the FAA says that if the drone is registered or requires to be registered, it needs to have remote ID. So in your case, if you have it registered, it would fall under that, then do it. But with that being said, if you have Part 107, there's no real reason why you ever need to fly under recreational rules. I hope that makes sense. So in your case, I think you should be flying under Part 107 all the time is what I'm saying. The rules are better, I think. They're just more spelled out and they offer a lot more freedom, I think, than recreational rules. So I would just go and do that. Are there any plans for a drone meetup here in the United States, like Indiana or Ohio? We will be in Ohio June, I think in June, for Flight Fest. So I would look at Flight Fest and see if this is something that you want to attend. If you're near Ohio, that's definitely a place to go. Tons of people that are flying recreational drones, a lot of fun. When did the FAA give governing powers over the airspace to the states? They did not. I don't know where you saw that, but they did not. So the FAA still governs all airspace, all navigable airspace. West River Drone says, how would you recommend acquiring a new Air 3S these days? It seems impossible with tariff, customs, zero supplies statewide. I would go and buy it into a different country. Now, I know this sounds like it may not be the easiest solution if you live in the middle of the country and there's no foreign country nearby, but, you know, it seems like at the moment that's the only way to do it. Or find a used one online, but I'm guessing Air 3Ss are difficult to find right now. Are there any courses or guidance on adding or syncing music to drone footage? We talk about this in our photography and videography. I mean, if you're looking for guidance, really start to look at what other people do and kind of see how they sync with the music. But personally, I like to use the tempo of the music and kind of put the beats. What I show in the course how I do it by just using the markers in Final Cut Pro. So I basically listen to the music and then with my M key, M for marker, I tap down and put a marker every time there's a tempo that I feel like I could be changing footage to. And then it's easy to kind of shorten your clip and make them longer or whatever to fit with that tempo. So that's what I would recommend. Demo Reel Workshop. Oh, that's in the premium community. Yeah, that's right. In the premium community also, we did, Ethan did a really awesome workshop that shows how to create a demo reel. And then he actually talks about music in that as well. Thumb Drone says, I just saw a post on Reddit about the Matrice 4 being pulled from sale from all US dealers, and it appears to be true based on their storefront. Any idea why? I have not seen that, so I don't know, maybe you can share, or you can share a link. Maybe you can email us a link at contact@pilotinstitute.com. I'd like to review that. I have not heard that from any of the resellers that we work with. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can talk about it in the comments. I also haven't, I have to admit, I've been I fell off the face of the earth for the last couple of weeks just because of everything we've been doing. So I haven't been on Facebook. I haven't been on a whole lot of social media. So Old Bones Drone Pilot says, I signed up for the Part 107 class in December, but I soon changed job and my work schedule gives me very little to study. I'm only 34% of the course. Will my course expire? No, it does not. You have lifetime access. So you're good. Take your time whenever you're ready. Anthony says, Greg, what's up? Hey, this client is requesting a COI, suggestion, certificate of insurance. You should be able to get a COI from your insurance company, insurance provider. What I'm guessing they're asking is probably to be named as additional insured on the COI. So talk to your insurance company and then they'll provide you with one. It's pretty standard stuff. By the way, I just noticed that the lava lamp is going that way. Okay. I received a gift of a Pilot Institute Part 107 training course about 1.5 years ago. It's about time, but I haven't yet begun to use it, so I haven't yet entered the redemption code. Will I run into a problem redeeming? I don't think so, but if you do, just reach out to our customer service team. On the bottom right corner of our website, there's a little chat box. If you come in during business hours, you'll talk to a real person, and then they'll be able to answer all your questions. Formerly Film Photography says, do I need to wait until I have to pay the new replacement cost for before increasing my prices to avoid gouging? I'm trying to understand. Oh, you wanna increase your pricing? That's up to you. So I can tell you from my perspective, we're not going to increase our pricing because there's no tariff on what we do because we're based in the United States. So I'm not going to change that. And I understand that if you have to make ends meet, but I would not do it until you see an increase in replacing your drone that you have to pass down to the customer. But personally, I wouldn't. It's unlikely that your competitors are going to increase their pricing just yet. You increase your pricing if you're a drone reseller, and then you immediately get an increase in cost that you have to pass down if you don't want to lose money. But I think for a drone service provider, it's too early to be even thinking about that, especially with how volatile the tariffs are at the moment. One day you have a tariff, the next day you don't. The next hour you have a tariff, the next hour you don't. So who the hell knows what's going to happen with all of that? So, yep. Do I need to wait until, oops, sorry, I did that already. Next, do you allow facility tours at your new location? We do. Just give us a little bit of a heads up. Don't just show up at the front door. But if you send us an email, we can always schedule something. We're always happy to see new students. I would give us another couple weeks. It's a bit of a mess. We're still in the middle of unpacking boxes, of setting up the studio, of doing touch up, of doing decoration and everything. So I would give us a couple more weeks, but yes, we are open for that. Just give us at least a week warning so we can make sure that we don't have anything scheduled during that time. Any viable US drone models or companies? It all depends on what you are doing. So if you're looking for the recreational side of things, like I said before earlier in this conversation, Mavic Air Mini series, you are not going to find a US manufacturer that does that. If you're looking for something more along the lines of a Matrice, for example, then yes, there are more options. But as far as filming drones, I hate to say it, but there's just not any American drones at all that do that, other than going into like something much larger that would be more expensive or larger in size than an Inspire 3, for example. But yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So unfortunately, no, there's no viable options right now, which is why those tariffs double suck, because, you know, if the goal is to help American manufacturers, it's not, because they just don't have a product to replace the one that you're getting, you know, double charged for. So, yep. Do you guys offer tutoring? There are some subjects that I need to get some help with. We do. Jason has a office hours. If you go to the community, you'll be able to see those. The community is free. You can see the office hours. So make sure that you show up with your question, and Jason will be able to help you. With the current administration, do you think DJI will get banned from the United States? Hard to answer, obviously. I have not, surprisingly, we have not seen a whole lot of recent discussion about the ban since we saw the NDAA language that puts that 1 year timeline for DJI to be inspected by some agency, some federal agency. So hard to tell, quite frankly. But you know, the tariff is, and then everything that's going on with CBP, Custom Border Patrol, is also some sort of a ban at the moment, because you can't get certain drones. And yeah, so yeah, fun stuff. It's been amazing. Where can I get more FAA drone registration stickers? You can message us. If you already got a batch, we usually restrict them to only one per customer, but you can email us at contact@pilotinstitute.com, and then we'll get you another set. Whew. All right. Well, man, I've got to all the questions already. Let's see. My facial hair is gorgeous. Thank you, Bobby. That's called laziness. And yeah, that's what happens on Thursday, usually, when we don't have much to record on Friday. I don't shave, and then I don't shave over the weekend, and then I forgot to shave this morning. So there you have it. You're very welcome, Bobby. Bobby's just jealous because he can't grow facial hair. What hair products? Shampoo. That's about it. I'm trying to be as cool as our production team, who all have beards. So, but yeah, I've failed so far. So, okay, what's next? Rotor Riot has blue certified stack, which means that they passed a government audit, and there is a video of the Ohio manufacturing site. Yeah, but that's, Curtis, I mean, that's not a drone that somebody's going to buy. You know, it's like saying, well, somebody sells an engine, so you can build a car if you want to. But most people, unfortunately, don't build their drones. You know, it's just the way that it is. And so, yeah. Any updates on Part 108? No updates on Part 108 at the moment. I don't know. I don't know if there's been any leaks. I don't think there has been any leaks. I haven't heard anything, but we'll have to wait and see for Part 108. I still, I have my favorite saying in the whole world is expectations is the leading cause of disappointment. And I think there's a lot of expectations with Part 108 that are not going to be met by the majority of the population. So I would say take it down one notch on Part 108 and what your expectation is of what Part 108 is going to accomplish. And then when it comes out, you might be positively surprised. But for those of you that are not familiar, Part 108 is rumored to be this thing that allows beyond visual line of sight in a more routine manner. So beyond visual line of sight flights without all the hassle that we've had so far, which is getting waivers that are difficult to get and this and that. So, but and this is just my own personal suspicion. My suspicion is that Part 108 is going to be a pathway that's going to require either special equipment, special standard operating procedures. It's essentially not going to be for average Rob that is just flying his drone or her drone from their backyard, if that makes any sense. So I think for a lot of, first off, it's not going to be for recreational pilots, one. It's going to be for Part 107 only. And then, yeah, I don't think it's going to be as easy as people might think it is. So, we'll see. Curtis says they want Part 108 to allow for drone delivery. I actually don't even think that's true. I think Part 108... drone deliveries are already covered. They're covered under Part 135. And I don't think that that process is going to change. And I'll tell you why. Because the drone delivery companies that are out there, the ones that are currently operating under Part 135 certificates, the last thing that they want is for another avenue that's going to make the work that they spend the last 3-4 years doing more easy for the competition to come in. Okay, hear me out. Might be a conspiracy, but if you're Amazon, if you're Wing, if you're all the other ones that are out there that spend millions of dollars getting Part 135 approval, you would not lobby for Part 108 to be an easy way for your competitor to come in and do the same thing that it took you millions of dollars and years to get approval for. That's my thinking. Now, Vic says, we disagree on this. We actually don't. He says, I'm optimistic that Part 108 will include extended VLOS under 2 miles. I'm not saying that it won't, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't, by the way. I'm hopeful that it has that. I'm just being very, very cautious about the expectation, because I don't believe it's going to be as exciting as people are making it to be. And I hope I'm wrong. But we'll see. I'm lowering the expectation, let's put it this way. And it would be cool. It would be cool to have extended visual line of sight within 2 miles, like we've seen in some waivers, which would make the most sense. But yeah. So yeah, that's a long answer to this, but I don't think it really is about drone delivery. I think it's more about, hopefully it is more about routine flights like Jared that's doing mapping every day, like Vic and Sparky that are doing videography every day, where they need to be going slightly beyond visual line of sight. I mean, for us too, when we do footage, when we record footage for the drone for our videos, it would be awesome to lose line of sight temporarily, or to be able to go a little bit further so that we can get that footage without having to hike dozens of miles to get to a location where we would be closer to that object. So yeah, I'm hoping that this is what it's going to be, but we'll see. My local park does not allow drone over 250 grams, but I have a registered Mini 4. How can I fly it under 250 grams? I don't know that I understand the question. Your Mini 4, if it has the right battery, it is still under 250 grams. So it shouldn't matter if it's registered or not. Let's put it this way. Okay. Formerly Film Photography says, I just received my spare RC2 and now I paired it with my Air 3S and leave my other RC2 on my Air 3. Do you share your controllers with multiple drones or dedicated to one drone with one controller? We try to keep the controller with the drone. We have enough controllers now to go around twice probably, because we have a lot of controllers. But yeah, we try. Usually we have a box that has all the equipment, so you don't have to repair the controller with the drone every single time. But it's happened. Sometimes we want to grab a controller to go fly and that controller doesn't have power, so we grab another one, because we have a lot of the same RC2 controllers. But I would recommend, just if you can, of course, obviously, if it's within the budget, to have one for each drone. But that's definitely luxury, and it depends on how often you switch drones as well. Would drone delivery be autonomous or piloted? Depends on who you ask. If you ask the FAA, I'm sure they would like it to be piloted. If you ask the operator, the owner of the drone delivery business, they probably want it autonomous. I think eventually we will get to autonomous drone delivery. Right now, I think there's still a pilot component to it. West River Drone says, we started a drone business at the worst possible time in drone history. We have a small practice drone, but we need an Air 3S or Mavic 3. No avail. Trying to buy from South Korea. No go. Any ideas? I think I mentioned it earlier, but if you're traveling internationally, go to Canada, go to Mexico, and then try to purchase it from there. Not an easy solution. Go to the Bahamas, go to other places, make it a trip. That's I'm assuming you're a guy. If you're a guy, just convince your wife to go on a trip to the Bahamas. She would likely love it. And quite frankly, vice versa. If you're a woman flying drones and want to buy a drone, tell your significant other that you want to go to on a trip, and then just buy a drone. I know it's not an easy answer. I kind of say this with a little bit of a smile, but yeah, there's no easy answer right now. There is no easy answer. Wing and DoorDash are about to start delivering small orders. Are we going to see so many of them dropping cans of soda? Who's going to monitor that activity? I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there where it's economical for any of them to do that for small orders, like you said. I don't know if you're willing to, especially with current inflation on a lot of products, I don't know if you're willing to spend, let's call it $20 on the pizza plus the delivery fee of $7 on top of it to bring it to you. Or I don't know what Uber Eats is these days on a pizza, but too expensive is the answer. So if Uber Eats is already too expensive, I can tell you that the drone delivery is going to be too expensive as well. Just my thought. I think we're not at the scale yet where those it almost feels like these drone delivery companies need to absorb that cost to get to mass scale so that they can then charge for that delivery. You get people used to the service by providing it for free. And then once people are hooked, then, you get it. For example, I was one of the early adopters when it became available to go get groceries into the back of your car. So you place your order, somebody goes and picks it up and puts it together, and then they put it in the back of your car. Well, this used to be free because it was a novelty. This is something that they really wanted to get people hooked to. And then eventually they started charging for it. But I tell you what, whatever they charged at the time was less than $10. It was totally worth my time. We could order all the food from home. We still do, and then put it in the cart, and then somebody goes and takes care of it. And it saves us a lot of hours, especially with young kids, not having to go and do that. Plus, we can see exactly what we want. We actually spend less money because we don't navigate the aisles getting lost and like buying things that you don't need. We actually have a full list that we stick to. Anyway, I digress completely, but my point is that service was free. They got you hooked up, and then they started charging for it, a nominal fee that I'm happy to pay because of the convenience. If people find drone delivery convenient and it's free, then once it gets paid, people will likely pay that extra fee on top of it. But I don't know. That's just my take. Yeah. Okay. Next. What would happen to pilots with a Part 107? Would they need to recert or pay for the additional test? I'm not sure which. It sounds like a follow-up question. Is it a follow-up to Part 108? If it is, I'm not sure. We're not sure what it's going to look like. Is it going to be an additional test where you have to pay $175 to PSI? Or is it going to be an online test, which is unlikely? Is it going to be an additional rating on your certificate? Is it going to be, I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm kind of curious as well about this. On Part 108, I'm on the new drone team in our fire department. How will Part 108 influence, if any, first responders? I don't know. I really don't know because we don't have enough information, even leaked, on this. And by the way, I've seen people on YouTube saying, oh, Part 108 leaked information, blah, blah, blah. There's no leaked information. So the people that are working at the FAA on this are tight lips because that's what they do. And they're not going to give that information until it's ready. Is a waiver available for beyond visual line of sight for survey mapping? Yes. Yeah, it is. So it's not for survey mapping. It's just for beyond visual line of sight. But yes, it is available. You have to apply for it on the FAA Drone Zone. James says Renseed's dilemma is that since he registered the Mini 4 Pro, it needs remote ID, but there is no Mini 4 Pro configuration with remote ID and still under 250 grams. Oh, I see. I mean, yep, well, I never tell people to break the rules, but put a module on top of it and then call it 250 grams. And then I'm sure nobody from that city is going to be walking around with a scale to tell you that that drone is over 250 grams. Preach, says Ethan from back there. I've learned over the years that the FAA rules are in place. This is not an FAA rule. This is a local municipality rule. And I have, quite frankly, I'm not going to say it. There you go. Okay. Nonsensical rules. Michael Dressing says, I live in a beautiful area with heavy litigation regarding a large landfill. Interesting. How would you caution a Part 107 operator generating photography solely for public domain with such a sensitive issue? You're going to have to tell me more, Michael, about what this thing is. I mean, if there is no restricted airspace, which I'm sure there is not, over landfill, what are they going to come after you for? Is my question. I guess they don't want pictures of the landfill, which tells me that they're probably doing something they shouldn't be doing. Yeah, interesting. Vic says my BV loss waiver is for 2 miles for any airspace. And yes, it's possible. Yes. Any use in any airspace. Phew. Are drones set to a country when they ship them? Are drones set? If they get one from Canada, will it work in the US? Yeah, it will. The drone, when DJI sends drones, they don't, how am I going to say that? For North America, it's going to be the same drone. Let's put it this way. Typically for Europe, it's also going to be the same drone. I'm 99% sure. So yeah. But yeah, it will work in the US. Today, I lost VLOS, visual line of sight, in a situation with lots of visual obstructions. What is the best way to use the RC2 controller screen to figure out where the drone is in the sky? It depends on the drone, but for most recent drones from DJI, there is a little H on the screen for home point. So if you yaw the airplane enough, you should be able to see the home point on the screen. If your drone doesn't have that, then I would look at the map on your drone and see where the drone has gone. There's always the option of climbing to get on top of that obstacle. To get higher than the obstacle so you can finally see the drone, but you have to be careful with how high you are in the first place. So yeah, I hate to say the obvious because I don't want to sound like a dick, but the best thing to do is to not lose visual line of sight in the first place. And I know this is the obvious, but if you do that, I would try to climb a little bit higher to see if you can see the drone, if it's possible, and then to look at the map on the screen, and then to see if you can see that home point on the visual. Next, Thomas says, when doing a job, do you include fuel cost in the total or add it in as a surcharge, which with the way fuel cost goes up and down? I would not go that far. I wouldn't even put a line item for fuel. I would just figure out what your cost is for driving, if that's how you want to do pricing. But I wouldn't go that granular that when you price something, if the fuel goes up, you lose money, you probably don't have enough margin in your cost at that point, if that makes any sense. So I would not have it as a surcharge. The only time that I've ever seen a surcharge make sense was in flight training when I managed flight schools and the price of fuel was fluctuating a lot. We added a fuel surcharge because we would receive the fuel at a cost and we would get, thousands of gallons at once. And so if we based our pricing per hour based on that cost, and if the next shipment came in and was way higher, then we would adjust the fuel surcharge. But we told the customers way ahead of time. Vic says mileage as per the IRS rules. That's a good idea as well, to put the cost based on the IRS numbers. Which reminds me, tomorrow is tax day. By the way, folks, reminder, tomorrow is tax day. So make sure you file your taxes or you file an extension, which is likely what I'm going to do. Okay, next. Whew. If I go to Mexico and buy a drone there, will I have to pay a tax when I return to the United States? I would take it out of the box and fly it, and it's no longer something that you're bringing back to the country. It's your own drone. So, but okay, what else? We're running out of questions. If you have a service area, you know the fuel cost already. Yeah, that's true. Extension filed. There you go. Taxes are done. Bank account is drained. Yeah, tell me about it. Okay. Any other questions? Put them in the comments. What time is it? We have 14 minutes left to go. I'm going to see if we missed any other questions in there. Yeah, the duty tax is something that you have to consider, but there are ways around it. So I'm just going to say that. Don't bring drones for your brother, your sister, your mother, and the whole family. Just buy a drone for yourself. Okay. Michael, I want to know more about this litigation at the landfill. Please tell us more. What's going on? Okay. Whew. Oh, I was going to say something else. Something happened recently. I forgot. Sparky, I am not answering that question. What is the link for the ND filter comparison that you put out? I'm pretty sure it was the Air 3 ND filters that we put out. I don't remember which model it was that we did, but yeah. Does anyone know how much a Red Cat Black Widow would cost? I do not. Can you even buy them? Red Cat, for those of you that are not familiar, create drones for the government. I don't know that it would be available. Register your drone on the FAA drone zone while you're in Mexico and bring it back across the US as a US drone. Not legal advice. Yes, thank you, Vic. Somebody said it. So Michael says, the landfill, it's 400 feet AGL. They have spent millions on litigation. It's on every picture you take in the area. Phew. Sounds like somebody needs to sue these people. They don't own the airspace, so personally I would say fly at will, but of course then you have to defend yourself. So, but that's what they're doing. They're bullying. So yeah, I don't want to be sued. Yep, sounds like a bunch of BS. Sounds like you need to find a local group and you need to do a lawsuit against them. Oh, okay. Curtis says, I heard that the new FAA director revoked the Southwest pilot that drove in front of the landing plane and now have a zero tolerance policy for pilot errors. I mean, this is not new, by the way. Anybody who does this stuff and has done this stuff has heard from the FAA. This is not new to the new FAA director. The FAA has had a no tolerance policy on runway incursions like this that could have killed people. So next, all right, bunch of questions in the chat. Let me see. Go back to my night flying. I live in a zero grid, okay, with an authorization to fly uptown 120 up to 125 feet. Just called the one airport up to 2230 because the airport closes. How can I fly legal at night? So you have to look at your airport and find out what it turns into once the tower closes. More than likely a class E, but also could be a class G. If it's a class G, you can fly at the airport without LANS approval. If it turns into a class E, you will need to get airspace approval to do that at night, probably up to 125 feet as well. I doubt they will ask you to call the airport in that case because there is no airport, but you'll have to send a request. Next up, let me see. Have a new Mini 4. What is your recommendation on a free, inexpensive video editor? I know that you've mentioned some, so sorry for repeating. Free video editor, you have Blackmagic, DaVinci. I can never remember that name, and I should because it's a famous name, but DaVinci has a free option. And then if you're on Apple, you actually have, what's the one on Apple, the free one? iMovie, that will get you the basics, and then after that you can, start to go further. But Final Cut is not super expensive. If you have a Mac, it's a one-time fee. What is it, $299 now, $300? One-time fee, you get all the updates. It's a great platform. If you want to spend monthly, then you can get sorry, I can keep a straight face. That's for you people in the chat, Sparky. If you want to pay monthly, you can go to Adobe, which I don't recommend because it just gets expensive if you're doing this for fun. It's a great platform, but yeah. Okay, next. Cure for India says, with DJI on the cusp of being banned by state and federal lawmakers, does it still make sense to purchase one of these drones? Okay, so be careful there. The bans that we are seeing at the state level are not for the average citizen, okay? They're for agencies that are using state money or federal money to purchase drones for their departments, public safety typically. So no, in this case. So I wouldn't be worried about that part. Also, to add, the proposed bans that we have seen to date do not ban future drones, do not ban current drones. They only ban future models that have not been approved by the FCC yet. So that's where we are. Minot, what's up? Says, thanks again for your weekly drone news update. Do you know if the advertised night beacon on the future new Helios drone is supposed to comply with anti-collision lighting? I do not. The only drones, I'll just say this, the only drones that I have seen to date that have a compliant beacon are the enterprise drones from DJI and I think from Autel, but that's the only ones that I've seen. So, okay. Next, Formerly Film Photography says, if something is identified as a critical infrastructure, that means no smartphone pictures either. I do not know the answer to that. That's so if you're seeing critical infrastructure somewhere, more than likely it's a state label. You would have to look at the regulation, the state regulation, the state rules on that point, if that makes sense. What does the regulation actually say? Sandy Perez says, can the controller wait. By changed flying the Neo while in flight. FPV controller. Oh, can the controller be changed? Oh, sorry. I'm thick. Can the controller be changed flying the Neo while in flight? No, you would have to be on the ground to rebind the controller, if that's what you're asking. Yeah. To give my earlier question some clarity, is there a restriction on flying drones in national parks for either recreational use or Part 107? I've been told you can't fly in national parks at all. That is correct. You cannot fly in national parks at all. That is correct. Do you guys see the new drone law in Iowa about flying over farmland and animals? I have not seen that one, but I have seen similar ones. I think Texas had one for a while. Then it got removed, and I'm pretty sure it got added again. So, yeah. But yeah, that sucks. Thomas says, can local municipalities ban drones from lifting off or landing depending on where the drone is made? I mean, local municipalities can do whatever they want. So I have not seen such language anywhere yet, but we live in a weird time. So who the hell knows what these local lawmakers are thinking about? So yeah, I don't know. But I have not seen that. But they could. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Ish. But yeah. Whew. Okay. We are entering bird nesting season at avoid national parks. I would avoid national parks completely. That's a good way to get your drone confiscated and get a fine. So don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. What else? Local yokels. Yeah. Local municipalities are not always the best at putting out regulation. It's kind of like, it's like an HOA on steroids. So there's that. I saw on TV a drone fly in the NCAA championship game, Alamo Dome. What would be the rule inside an indoor stadium? Good question. Inside, the FAA doesn't have any rules, so you can really do whatever you want. With that being said, your insurance company is going to want to know what you're going to be doing, and I'm sure they won't let you fly a drone inside without some sort of insurance. So I would talk to your insurance carrier first.
Extra points, what is NCAA?
That's basketball, right?
Yes.
Oh, you don't even know the answer? What is it? Is it basketball?
Yeah, that's basketball.
Okay, NCAA. See, I know stuff. With a very secure. What is the range of the Neo using the RC2 controller? The range is visual line of sight. That's how far it goes. Sorry, Dean, that was not the answer you're looking for, but you can't fly beyond visual line of sight in the United States unless you have a waiver. And so as far as range, probably 6 miles, I think, is the rated, but not something to do in the United States. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Bob Wazinski says, after acquiring lens approval, besides having your certificate, drone license, DL license, driver's license, and a copy of the an ID. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would recommend having? No, that's what you are supposed to. No, that's it. I mean, that and then your currency if it's been more than 2 years. So somebody says, isn't NCAA all college sports? National Collegiate Something Association. Oh, so yeah, you're right. It could be any sports, right? Okay. Woo! See, we learned stuff on this broadcast. What else? What insurance company would you recommend for commercial drone flights? There's a bunch of them. I don't like recommending just one, so I would do some research and, look at the pricing. Is Part 108 coming out soon? We don't know at this stage. There is not enough information. So, okay. I think we're going to end it. It's 4:59. It's a good time to stop. And we are going to be back on Friday morning for news update as always. I don't think we have anything publishing this week, but we have more content coming up now that we're back in the studio. And so look for more videos coming out from us. We have news update coming out. We have the community live at 4 p.m. on Friday as well. And then in the meantime, fly safe. Don't be that guy. And then we'll see you next time.
Friday live, we're doing studio tour.
Oh, studio tour on a Friday live.
Yeah, roaming camera.
Yeah. So come in the community. We'll do a studio tour with a roaming camera. So that's, we'll see you at 4 p.m. Pacific time in this case. All right. See you guys later.